I'm Jess Forbes with a Heart Nightly News special following one mother's search for the truth to find out why her son died alone in a prison cell and why it's taking so long for answers.
It's my baby, he was poorly. I'll never get over it. Every day I get up is another day that I've got out of bed. Just try and keep my head straight.
You can't let someone pass away on the premises and not tell us how he's died.
Had you have been able to get at your son, he'd still be alive today and this wouldn't have happened, and I think that's absolutely terrible.
She's not the same person anymore. We've all just lost our mum.
In 2018, there were 6 people who died in UK prisons every week. Since 2016, 11 men have died inside Forest Bank behind me. The Salford jail keeps on hitting the headlines with reports of deaths, drugs, violence and corruption.
Hart has been told that a 27-year-old dad from Manchester is the latest person to die in custody at Salford's Forest Bank.
A prison guard at Forest Bank in Salford, whose car was petrol bombed, has been sacked after it was discovered.
An investigation's underway after a 5th person in just over a year died at Forest Bank.
A man who was jailed for firing an air pistol is now the 4th person to die at Forest Bank Prison this year.
Hearts Nightly News.
Dad of one, Michael McDonough, passed away in his cell on February the 19th, 2018. Michael was a schizophrenic, diagnosed at just 16 years old. The 27-year-old struggled all his life with voices in his head and had tried to take his own life many times before. His mum, Maggie, pleaded with probation to have his sentence for a serious driving offence revoked and instead wanted him to be sectioned under the Mental Health Act. Here's Michael's story.
Sometimes people take things for granted and you just never expect your life can change so quick. Just gone. It's just weird. I've got all this stuff, all his clothes, the pictures of him, everything, but just not Michael.
I'd say from being 16, 17 I started to see a change in Michael. I think it was when he was like 17 he started to hear voices. He'd ended up going to see his son, and when he'd got there his ex-partner was with somebody else and it's all escalated, and he's ended up taking the car, trying to set the car on fire with himself in it. Then he's gone back to his flat. So I've gone to his flat, I've gone in with the key. He was just grey, he was lying on the floor. I think he took 60 diazepams, olanzapine, metazapine. He took them all, he didn't want to be here anymore. He ended up going into hospital. The police ended up having him sectioned as well. I've held Michael's hand for 27 years. And when he went there, I just thought, oh my God, he's gone to Forest Bank. He's gone in there. And for everything I tried, I couldn't save him. And he's my son. I need to know, and I have a right to know what happened to Michael. I've asked him, and nobody seems to know.
Maggie was told Michael had died over the phone, and when she buried her son, she was given a blank death certificate. Almost a year later, she's still waiting to find out exactly how he died. For the past 9 months, Heart has been following her in her relentless quest for the truth.
This is Hearts Nightly News.
Maggie McDonough isn't somebody that's going away. The mum of 7 is determined to find out what happened to her son the night he died. Ever since his death, she's been holding protests right here outside Forest Bank, chanting and blasting out his favourite songs from a trailer covered in Irish flags and flyers, calling for justice for Michael. I asked Maggie why she keeps on coming back.
This prison is a hellhole. Everybody that comes in here has a story to tell when they get out. It's private. So you're just a number. That's all you are in this prison. We're human. We have a right to know what went on. That's my son. It's Michael. No, I'm not letting this go. And I won't let it go. We'll keep fighting.
Michael's brother Daniel tells me he can't believe that months on, they still don't know how he died.
There's a lot of questions that need answering, and we want to know the answers. That's why we're here. That's the main reason why we're here, to show them that we're not going to back off. We're going to keep on fighting for justice for Mickey. He's my brother and we all love him.
Hearts Nightly News.
Sadly, Michael's story isn't a one-off. Ray Lucy died in his cell in Forest Bank 2 months after Michael. His wife, Margaret, has no idea how the 63-year-old died and has been told it could take up to 2 years to find out. She is adamant, though, that if officers had done their jobs properly, Ray would still be here.
He said, "I'm frightened." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'm scared when I can't breathe. It's different. And I'm frightened I'm not going to get my breath. And no one's interested. They're not helping me." Oh my goodness. He looked dreadful. And he said again, I am so frightened. He said, no one's listening. 5 days later, the doctor said to him, he put him on antibiotics and steroids straight away, and said to him, how long have you been like this? And Ray said, I have been trying to see you. The 2 nurses and the 2 guards, I hold them responsible, because if one of them had acted on Ray's requests for help, he would have got oxygen and he would have been here now.
Yeah, so you have no closure, no reason?
No, yeah.
How does that fit in with your grieving process?
Puts it sort of on hold, because it's just something, even though it's past, it's something you want to know why it shouldn't have happened. So my future has just been halted. Can't move on. Just can't move on, because we've got no closure.
During this heart investigation, I was contacted by people who had serious concerns surrounding Forest Bank. Last year, a number of staff were sacked for smuggling things like drugs, phones and alcohol. In December last year, there was a petrol bomb attack on 2 of the officers' cars, which police say was targeted. One prison officer still working at the jail messaged me on social media, desperate to speak out, but remain anonymous, so we've used an actor's voice. Well, they say officials within the Salford system are trying to brush things under the carpet.
My opinion is that it's a massive cover-up. Prison failing to do checks. Forest Bank will not admit how volatile and serious the drug problem within is. Also not surprising that it took 7 months for the McDonough family to get answers. Staff were warned not to talk about it or to disclose information. The current system is failing, kids running wings, no control over any resident, staff unwilling to tackle problems, and other half wanting to fight and treat residents in an inhumane way. Forest Bank is like a time bomb. Violence, drugs, emergency services every day, nationals out frequently.
Gathering more and more information, I approached Greater Manchester MP Angela Raynor. She agreed to meet us at her constituency office in Ashton to tell her what we'd found out and how the family had been treated since Michael's death.
Hello, I'm Jess.
Hi Jess, nice to meet you.
Well, thank you for meeting with us today. I'll just give you a bit of background. So I work for Global Radio. I've been doing a report into prison care. There's an alarming number of deaths that have taken place recently at Forest Bank.
At Forest Bank, yeah.
And I got in touch with Margaret, who lost her son Michael there, and...
I'm sorry to hear that, Margaret.
Okay. And Margaret wants to tell you her story, the trials and tribulations that the family have gone through, kind of trying to get to what really happened.
Okay.
And then the worries and concerns that have come out of that in terms of what's going on at Forest Bank, making you aware of that.
He got in trouble for a silly driving offence over an ex-girlfriend, Angela. He had really bad mental health.
How old was Michael?
27 when he passed away.
Nice to see you.
And you too.
How's it been? A few weeks?
All right.
So yes, we're a few weeks on now. From when we sat down with Angela, it was all hugely positive. When we spoke to Angela, I think she really understood where you were coming from. So she wrote off to so many different people. She wrote off to Forest Bank. She wrote off to the Secretary of State for Justice, Robert Buckland. We've had some responses.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Has it made anything kind of make more sense to you?
It's made me realise that somebody's actually listening, and they know that it was wrong the way that we've been treated, and for Angela to have a meeting with me first of all, and then she stuck to her word, which was really good, and then to get the letter back, and then Sodexo had to write back. Now I know that something will change. It'll change for Michael. If anything comes out of this, it'll be more so that Michael's changed it, and more so towards the mental health things. You know, like with the prison, the way everything's running now at the minute. I just want it to not happen to anybody else again. That's all. I just want it all to change, that no one else gets treated like this.
As Maggie says, we received a written response from the Justice Secretary, Robert Buckland. Here's what he said.
I am conscious of the devastating effect that death and prison custody can have and offer my condolences. I am afraid that while these investigations are ongoing, I am unable to comment directly on the circumstances of Michael's death. Once these investigations are complete, I would be keen to meet Mrs McDonough to hear from her directly about her experiences. I am committed to improving prison safety to make sure that the government's doing everything it can to stop families experiencing such loss in the future.
There was also a reply from Forest Bank.
Our thoughts are with the McDonough family. We made every genuine effort to handle communications sensitively, but are sorry if this fell short. I'm afraid while the investigations are ongoing, I'm unable to comment on the circumstances surrounding Michael's death. We will continue to work with the relevant authorities and will put in place any improvements identified. Yours sincerely, Matt Spencer, Director, HMP Forest Bank.
This is Hearts Nightly News.
Of course, life does go on, but for the McDonough family, every day is a struggle not knowing. Maggie goes to Failsworth Cemetery once, sometimes twice a day. I went with her and Michael's sister Stacey to see how it's impacting the family.
So how do you feel like when you drive up here?
Sick. Just surreal. Like, I think Michael's in here. And you come here, this is not how it's meant to be. You're not meant to come to a hole in the ground. Yeah, let's get out and have a look. Come every single day. Sometimes twice a day I might come.
Why do you feel that you have to come so often?
Because I know it sounds mad, but I just think I don't want him to be on his own. I always think, like, was he scared? The hardest part for me is the night time, Jess, because I just don't like the thought of him being here on his own. That's why we put all the lights on. The thought of him being in the dark, I don't like it.
How's it affected your life? Badly, like, I just don't feel as happy as I used to anymore because a part of me's gone, really. When your head hits the pillow at night, I think you always wonder what really happened to him. Because he died on his own and he got took. And it's just mad because he weren't with like none of us when he passed away. And I think that's the hardest thing ever. How's it affected your mum? She's not the same person anymore. She don't laugh the same, or she doesn't speak the same as she used to about life. She's just gone so different. She's just got a different look on life. And it's just sad really because I feel like we've all just lost our mum. And it shouldn't be like this.
The pre-inquest hearing into Michael's death is taking place in Bolton tomorrow, where they'll set a date for the full inquest. Well, the story doesn't stop here. Heart will continue its investigation into Michael's legacy, whatever that looks like.